Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and a very warm welcome to Tuesday's edition of the Doctor Who Daily. Was the 10th Doctor correct in deposing former Prime Minister Harriet Jones? Let's take it back a bit, so those of you who have never seen this episode, who don't even know Doctor Who, maybe I can convince you to watch Doctor Who via this discussion. So basically, at the end of series 1 of the Doctor Who revival, basically the Doctor regenerated. We went from Christopher Eccleston to David Tennant. We then waited till Christmas Day. We had the Christmas invasion, and basically the Doctor is reunited with Harriet Jones. There's an invasion, an alien invasion. The Doctor has a fight with the Sycorax, that's what they're called. He tells them to leave, they leave. But using Torchwood, Harriet Jones, Prime Minister, shoots down the alien ship. This makes the Doctor very angry because they were leaving anyway. But her standpoint, her point of view is, Doctor, you said that they'll tell others and others will come. So who's right? Was Harriet Jones correct to shoot down the Sycorax, or was the Doctor correct in deposing her? Now, before we get into this a little bit deeper, what happens in the season 4 finale, Journey's End, we see Harriet Jones again trying to stop the Daleks, and she tells Captain Jack she warned the Doctor about this. He's not always here. So ultimately, it would seem, as a writer, Russell T Davies created this very interesting arc, and maybe Russell T Davies believes that actually what Harriet Jones Prime Minister did by shooting down the Sycorax was the right thing. Maybe Russell T Davies, as the writer of all of this and the creator of all of this, actually believes the Doctor was wrong to depose Harriet Jones. Ultimately, this is what I believe. The Doctor didn't look at the big picture. He was reacting from emotion because he didn't agree with the course of action that killed those Sycorax. Even though potentially they could have killed lots of people themselves, and using the blood, the people's blood, they turned them into zombies, making them stand at the edge of the buildings, and they could have died. But the Doctor had already dealt with it. They were going home. So he was acting on emotion. He wasn't acting like he normally does, like intelligently and via logic and common sense. He was acting emotionally. So he didn't look at the big picture. What he did, he deposed the Prime Minister that was part of Britain's golden age. We'd already been told this. So if she stayed in power, that golden age would have continued. So basically, the Doctor, yes, the Doctor, in my opinion, is in the wrong. The Doctor should never have deposed Harriet Jones. But let me know what you think in the comments down below as we continue this discussion. But you see, when you're the Doctor and you have this ability and you can do this, and the way he did it, he literally convinced her, right? Not convinced her, but convinced one person, which convinced the whole world that she was looking tired. Don't you think she looks tired? Again, this is a sentence and a quote us Doctor Who fans use a lot on real-life politicians. In fact, Russell T Davies, hilariously, uses this on his Twitter. Not his Twitter, he's not on Twitter, can't stand Twitter. On his Instagram, he's used this about politicians. But again, Russell is so intelligent setting this up, because you would have thought he would have written all of this to make the Doctor look like the hero and in the right. This is very interesting because we see this 10th brand new Doctor being this hero, old-fashioned type of hero, sword fight. He fights the Sycorax. He basically throws the tangerine at the thing. The Sycorax falls over because he's about to kill the Doctor. Even though the Doctor thought the fight was over, it was done. And he goes, no second chances. I'm that type of man. Already, we've had some foreshadowing into what's going to happen with Harriet Jones. No second chances. I'm that type of man. So we already know if Harriet Jones does what she's about to do, there's no second chances. He's going to depose her, but he's not acting via logic. He's acting via reaction. This is a very rare thing for the Doctor to do, in fact, so it's interesting. He's just regenerated, so all the emotions are still flowing. He's just saved the day, and maybe the power went to his head. So I believe, and I think Russell, as the writer of this, believes that actually the 10th Doctor was in the wrong. But this is very, very interesting. And the reason I'm discussing this today, because I've been thinking about Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor a lot. You see, to get anything done today in entertainment, you have to jump through a lot of progressive hoops. So basically, women, the LGBT community, black people, minority groups cannot be portrayed as criminals or in a negative light in these people's rulebook. So if you're a straight white male, you can be a bad dad, bad husband, a domestic abuser, a paedophile. But minorities, women in the LGBT community, they don't want them to be represented like that because progressives don't live in the real world. Also, because black people were represented all as criminals when I was growing up, they're trying to level it up. But basically, you've gone from one extreme to the other. And this is what happened with Jodie's Doctor. Because she was a female doctor, the first female doctor, so she's a trailblazer, right? She's got to be pure, morally perfect, but with no nuance and no multi-dimensional characterization. So what happens is she doesn't have the flaws of the 9th Doctor, the 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor, the 12th Doctor especially. She's perfect. She's just perfect. She keeps on apologizing to her companions all the time. She's the perfect host. And this is the problem with her. She doesn't seem like the Doctor because she's perfect, because she doesn't have any flaws. And the Doctor has always been flawed from day one. And these were the issues with her Doctor, not because she was a woman. It's nothing to do with that. It's because she was a woman that Progressive Entertainment, the BBC and Chibnall decided she can't have any nuance or any flaws. So what happens 2 seasons in, when they realise she seems like a really boring Doctor compared to the others, they have this scene where Graham tells her his cancer may be coming back and she acts all awkward and they think this has nuance to it. No, this is not the Doctor. This is not like the Doctor. This is not something the Doctor would do. And every fan called it out. And basically that scene was Chibnall digging himself an even deeper hole. So going back to David Tennant's Doctor deposing Harriet Jones, the Doctor is flawed. He's not the perfect hero. He's not Superman. He's not a superhero. He's a very flawed character who's been alive for a very, very long time. And what Russell's tried to show with this long life, that he's not the person he once was. And he doesn't, and we saw that mentioned in season 2, School Reunion, when he tells the villain of that episode, I used to have so much mercy, meaning he doesn't have as much mercy as he or she used to. But Jodie's Doctor is just this kind of ball of perfection and positive energy, and it doesn't work. Yes, there are elements of the Doctor's character being this positive, vibrant ball of energy has always been the Doctor, but also the Doctor has always been flawed because the first Doctor literally abducted Ian and Barbara, his very first 2 companions. So he's been a flawed character from the very, very beginning. Having flaws doesn't make you a bad person. As I keep on saying, we've all got flaws. None of us are perfect, but the Doctor has always been flawed, everyone. And to make the Doctor of perfect morality just because of her gender creates a problem. It makes this character dull and uninteresting, and this was the problem with Chibnall's Doctor Who, and this is why the audience went away, and this is why it didn't really work. But in terms of the Doctor deposing Harriet Jones, for me, he was definitely in the wrong. I think Russell wrote it to put him in the wrong and just show him how, just show him in that light where there are no second chances with this Doctor. Because this Doctor comes across very jovial, funny, attractive, someone you'd love to travel with. but also he's a very dangerous doctor. He may even be the most dangerous of all of the doctors. This has been the Doctor Who Daily here on Movies TV Mad with me, Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection, and I'll see you again in the next edition of the Doctor Who Daily. Until we see each other again, parting is such sweet sorrows, but I'm going to continue my Doctor Who and Torchwood rewatch because I'm really enjoying doing it. So I'm on season 3 of Doctor Who, and I'm on the end part of Torchwood season 1. It's all coming together beautifully, and I'm enjoying experiencing it all again because Russell T Davies is a freaking genius. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.